All right, we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of It's Ed Technical. I'm Nick Finelli, and we got a good show for you tonight. We're going to go into some Unity. If you've never heard of Unity, Unity is a programming language, and the programming language of Unity is used by zSpace, which is does a lot of AR and virtual reality, and they actually have some new stuff coming up. But it's pretty cool how you can be a developer for that, and I'm just going to show you the process of doing that. Then we're also going to talk about just cleaning up for the end of the year. How do you get all your Google stuff together for your Google Drive and kind of put a shit aside so that way it's nice and easy for the end of the year. Some more end of the year stuff. We'll go in as a Google admin and look at making sure we know how to disable students. A lot of times schools like to do that so they can clean accounts, move people's stuff without having their privileges compromised over the summer, or if you have people leaving, graduating, that kind of stuff. So just making sure we don't necessarily delete the accounts, but we'll talk next time about actually taking the accounts for people who are going. But this time we'll just talk about the those who are just going to be coming back, or we're temporarily disabling them. And then being able to sign out of all your accounts. So let's say you've gone and set up your Chrome profile and you end up doing that on multiple computers, and you're like, I don't want my stuff out there all the time. What if somebody gets on that computer? That kind of thing. So I'll just show you a neat trick to get yourself off of all of those accounts. So that's what it is for tonight. If you got any other questions, please send them in. I will try to post any websites and things I go to along the way. Otherwise, let's get started. So the first one I am going to do is the Unity programming. So let's switch back here. And so I'm actually at zSpace. And so zSpace has its own Unity programming. That's what it uses. It's the framework. And so I'm going to go back one. So if you just go to the regular zspace.com/edu, and then underneath go to browse zSpace learning content, and you're going to see Unity programming, and it'll take you to this space. And so the Unity programming area will just have you walk through some basics. So from setting up your zSpace system just to making sure it's ready. So if you clicked on that icon, which is number 1, says getting started, it will set you up with just the tech notes and things like that you might need to get your lab started. If you already have your lab started and you already have a zSpace system, even easier. Alright, step number 2. Step number 2 says to install Unity 3D. So you actually click on Unity 3D environment and install it. So what happens is you go to the Unity store, and so when you click on that, the Unity store opens up, and you can sign in using your Google account. It also has other accounts that you can sign in, or you can just create your own if you've never done this. And you can go ahead and sign in as a personal account. So what happens is you get, right here, like I said, so you get 12 months of Unity game development courses and scene generator plus you get all of this. So the download Unity plan, again, is free. You can't make more than 100,000 annual gross revenues, regardless of whether Unity Personal is being used for commercial purposes or not. You've not raised funds in excess of 100,000, and you're not currently using Unity Plus or Pro. So as you get better at it, you can do that. You can see here you can download it specifically for your system. It could be Windows, so if you don't want Mac, you can choose to download it for Windows. So there's both options. And of course, if you're using zSpace, then the option for downloading for Windows is the one that would come up automatically, because that's what zSpace is used by. And it's going to show you the requirements, and it's going to show you the Unity version. That's important that you write that down, because there's different things and different notes based on the Unity version that you have installed and that you're using. So you can go ahead and click on download, and it will download it. So the next part is after you download, so you install the environment, then you have to download the Unity 3D plugins. And so you have to register as a zSpace developer. Most people who use zSpace already can just use their zSpace login. You could use your Google login or something like that, but basically any time to get signed in, you just have to go to this developer site. So there's the developer site. It's just developer.zspace.com, and I'm on the downloads part. So just added that into the notes on this. And so once you're in there, you're going to download the plugin that you need. I would always go with the latest one, just because it seems to be able to do more. It's recommended for using right here, using zSpace Unity 2017.1 or later. So that's what I would use, is the zSpace Unity plugin. So of course you download that plugin, and then you're good to go there. So far we've got our zSpace set up. We have the Unity 3D environment we've logged into. We've downloaded 3D Unity, now the plugin. And then the last part is the Educator's Toolkit. And this is the last part to really get going. I wouldn't go to this last number 5, which is zSpace Unity Curriculum Supplement. That's just as you get working more, and it talks about how to use it with students, which is a great tool, but I think as a teacher you would want to get familiar with it first and then go to that. So if you go to the Unity Educator Toolkit, it looks something like this. It's a little white paper. You have to fill out the this little Unity Toolkit form, and so they'll send you an email with the standards and things like that on there. But basically, it's two items. One is a curricular development resource, and the other one's a the other one is professional skills standards document, both which have learning standards and objectives and things like that. So it's talking about how to make that useful in your classroom. So Unity has done a really good job, and the education department has done a fabulous job. So you fill that out, and they send you an email, and just going to ask you what you teach, if you have a website, your experience level. Okay. Then once you get that email, this is a 200-page document that they send you. Here's the curriculum framework, and so it's pretty neat to be able to go through this. It talks about game design theory, different scripting and dynamic fundamentals, interfaces and environments, and how to manage them, how to manage the animation. You can see it's a total huge package here of stuff that could take a while to read, but also, even if it does take a while, it's all there for you. So they kind of boxed it up for you to make it easier to look at this and look at the big ideas behind this too. So from standards alignment all the way to technical training to assessments, how you're going to use it. So a lot of cool stuff. And so here I am with the game design. So it's going to talk about how they're created. Here's the objective for the course, and then it gets into it. Now what's neat about this guide is it takes you straight to the tutorials. So there's different tutorials, so this first one, learn the interface basics. So it's going to send me straight to this document under Unity as their own documentation of all this. So once you're in here, if you wanted to go through, this is basically the manual, and it teaches you all the different parts and what it does. they do have tutorials. So once you're in the actual Unity environment, so if I just go to my account here, and I can go to just the store, I can go to Unity, but they have the Learn section here. And so when I click on Learn, this is all about learning Unity. So they have Getting Started, so step-by-step guides to get started. Tutorials, so they're free online tutorials and game kits you can download, similar to, like, you know, if you've ever done something with Minecraft. But anyway, just all of this is here, and it's from beginner to advanced, all sorts of things. So and then they also have Unity online courses. So all this stuff is right here for you. Even a section on educators and students, and then doing a certification in Unity. And if you're not familiar with Unity and what it does, what I would do is I would just do a search and say games that use Unity programming, and you're going to see tons out there. Your kids probably know. So that's what you would do with Unity. Now the last part is, once you log into the Education Store, they have specific settings. So once you're logged in, you can choose that you're an educator or a student, and it allows you to go through those things specifically for education. I showed you the general site, that's for anybody, but there where we were with Visit Unity Learn. But here's all the things as far as education licenses. So if you want to get, you know, pro licenses or something for education, it's going to be definitely at a discount compared to other things. But nice program. And then last but not least, number 5 was talking about going to zSpace Unity Curricular Framework. And so this was created for teachers. This simple outline just shows you the different ways that zSpace incorporates and uses Unity. This is the zSpace section of the Unity certification program. So what it does is it helps you understand how zSpace comes in through this. So after you've done the first 8 units on your Unity courses, there's a unit on zSpace, and then you do a couple more units. So units 9 and 10 would be in Unity, and then you'll go ahead and do the unit 2 for stereo mechanics with zSpace, and so forth. So you see all 14, but there are 3 units that incorporate zSpace and how they can be used. So terrific way to spend your summer, or if you have kids who are interested in gaming, get them on there. It's kids who are interested in virtual reality or AR. You know, this could be a summer project. This could be an X-term if you wanted. I know a lot of schools do X-terms about right now. You know, testing is over. What are you going to have your kids do? Maybe you still have 3 or 4 more weeks left. Go ahead and start this. Why not? Your kids will be excited, especially the ones who are choosing this and want to do this. I mean, have them go at it. So that's a lot on Unity programming. So I'm just going to add a couple more things in there. So I'm going to go to the Unity Learn, and I'm going to add that as a particular link, and then also Unity's education site. So I've added that all to the Facebook Live chats. Okay, next up, is the talking about Google Drive, and basically taking all your stuff and condensing it and making it easier for you to find your stuff next year, but also kind of put it in one section. And so I have a general strategy that I always tell teachers, may work for you, but just you might as well try it. So what I do is I go to Google Drive. Let me get you on Google Drive again. And you probably noticed the new interface on Google Drive. Yay! So you got the little new with the plus button here, and you'll probably see on the right there your your logos, so you can kind of configure this area a little bit better as an admin. But anyway, so let's say you're in Google Drive and you want to take all your stuff from this year. So one of the things you may do is do a search, and you can search on when it was modified and use custom dates. So if you want to do this school year, let's say the school year started around August, so just include August 1st because maybe you're repairing stuff and it's going through, let's say today's your last day. So you could do a simple search here. So search for all your items that were modified, and the reason I would do modified is just because you've used it, so apparently it's something that you may want to use next year, you either created or something, so they would all be listed there. So that's a nice thing about searching for all of those. That's an easy way to find stuff. You can sort it that way. But before you do any of that, I'm going to keep this in here, so I'm going to cut this out. I'm going to go to New, and I'm going to create a folder. And I'm just going to call the folder 2017-18 school year. And so if I go to recent, come on, try that again. There it is. 2017-2018 school year. Might make it a certain color so I remember. Alright, and now there's a number of things you can do. If you already are one of those people that organize things in folders, then you can simply drag your folders into that particular folder. So there's the 2017-18 school year. So if I know that this particular Google class, or so here I am with Classroom, and I decide that one of these classes needs to go in there, then I just simply drag it in to that class. Alright, so it's nice. And so if you have your system set up this way where you can just drag folders in, you can do multiple folders. Remember, you can hold down Command or Control and select multiple ones. If not, again, we can go back to that search that we did earlier, and you can see all of these items. And of course, if I wanted to highlight them, I could choose the first, hold down my Shift button, and let's say this is the last one. It's going to select all of them in between and then simply drag it over. And so now they're all in, they would now all be in that 2017-18 folder. So then next year, when you're looking for something, you could just search that particular folder, and then that way it's easier to find. And if you needed to download it, now instead of finding all the different items, you could simply just go to that one folder and download the folder. So there's your download. Now, some people say, well, I have stuff and I use it over and over, and maybe it started in an original year and maybe it's shared with other people. So remember, one of the things you can do with Google is that you can, when you select items, so we'll go back up here again and be able to, when you select items, if you do, wait, this comes up, right? So I'm just going to select a couple here just so you can see. If you do Shift and then Z, it will actually, instead of moving it, it will add it also. So I can add it to that school year And so now they're listed in both. I didn't take it from its original. I didn't, mess up anything I had as far as how it was shared, because if I moved a folder or if I moved something, it moved it away, and maybe somebody else doesn't have sharing rights to your particular folder. So by using Shift Z, as in zebra, then you can just add them to it. So another good way to bring this up. All right, go back, see how we do that. So we've done the Unity programming. We have talked about moving stuff by creating a folder in Google Drive and then moving stuff into that folder or adding it using Shift Z. Remember the advanced search of the dates you're looking for, and it's going to search those dates of those files that you modified within that year, which would also guarantee that the ones that you used there previous year would be in there. So next part, let's go to the admin section and look at how we can disable accounts for the summer. So I'm going to go into my Google admin section, which for some reason I'm not seeing here. There we go. Alright, so it's pulling up the admin section. Type in my password. Alright, so users themselves can be disabled. And remember, a couple weeks ago we had a little part about how they changed the interface to show cards as users. So it was a little easier to see kind of everything about them. So I'm just going to click on users again in my admin section, and you're going to see all these users. And of course this is where you would move them if you were intending to move a particular set of users. This is what most schools do. They take a whole section and they keep the policies for that particular OU, and they just move the kids from one OU to the new OU and so forth. And usually they work backwards, so that way it's empty when you move them. So some of the things you can do is, let's say, well, we need to disable this Apple account. Let's say this is one particular student or something like that. Then we have all of our options on here. So notice it's had an active user. If I click on more, there's my suspend user. Okay. And so by suspending the user, notice it says right here, some things keep in mind. User license fees will still apply to the suspended user. So if you have a certain amount of licenses, then they still have a license, not like you cleared them out. Also, their data is there, but they won't continue to receive emails or calendar invites or any types of files over this time while they're suspended. So that's a nice thing to do. I suggest to do that for any kids that leave during the year, especially if you have a high transient population. They may end up coming back a couple months or even the next year. If you're talking about teachers, suspending their accounts if they're off for a couple months, summer included. If you want to do some cleaning up of accounts and things like that, and you don't want them to kind of continue to use it, you can suspend teachers' accounts. But most of the time this is for students leaving and students who you suspect may be coming back, but it allows them to still have all their stuff. It just they won't have access to it, but when they come back they'll get everything as if they were never gone. So as long as you don't delete them, they can be restored, which is also a nice thing to do. Maybe somebody didn't get all their data taken. They were supposed to. They were given all the requirements to do it, and then somebody comes to you at the end of the summer and like, oh, I meant to get my stuff and it didn't all come through. You as an admin could easily just re-enable their account and have them download their stuff, and then go ahead and delete their account, now that they've officially gotten it out. Also, if you're doing any type of cleaning of accounts and things like that, you may want to suspend them first before you go ahead and delete them. So I'm just going to hit suspend here, And so now this account will say it's suspended by the admin, and there we go. Simple as that. All right, so the last part I want to show you is, let me go into, I need to add a link to that. So let me click over here. I'm going to add a link about suspending accounts to our little Facebook chat here. There we go. I'll just put the supporting inserts, that way you have a quick link to get to it in the notes. There we go. Suspending users. It just kind of retalks about what's going on. All right, so the last part is going to an account. So I'm going to just use my account, and I'm going to go to my Gmail. And the reason you go to your Gmail is because they have a nice little area at the bottom of the Gmail, so every user can do this. They can go to the very bottom of their emails, and they can see at the bottom right where it says details. So I'm right here, and bottom right when it says details, you click on that. All right, so what it does is it shows activity in your account. So it shows what access you have, whether it's downloading from somewhere else, whether it's on a mobile device, whether it's a certain browser. It's going to show you all of those. So these are open logins and when they were last pinged or checked. And so you can see also the IP address. So it tells you what computer you use to log in and where it is. So if you're on multiple computers and you've logged in, you're like, you know what, I just need to log out of all of these, makes it much easier. It will sign out of all other web sessions. So it's going to sign out of all of these. And once you click on that, then your account is signed out, and it makes it much easier. A lot of times people do this before they change their password. So they do this and then they go ahead and change their password. And then of course if you have an alert for unusual activity, you can change that. But this is just a simple way to do that. It also shows you the computer you're using, so you can see this is the IP address of the computer I'm using, and there it is. So that's your secure information, and then of course you sign out on this one, and now you're out. And of course you can remove your accounts whenever it asks you to choose. So you can use another account or remove it. So that is, to me, the best way. There's the remove account, and so you just select one. So to fully kind of get out of there and not have your name in there at all, you may want to remove it. But if you don't have access to those other computers or something like that, simply going to that details and signing out would be the best way. All right, so there's 4 things we did tonight. Last couple things were just making it easier to suspend or get people out of their accounts, so they're not using them, allow for some other things to do, and then signing out of all of your accounts regardless of what computer or device they're on, just to make it easier. So some nice summer cleanup stuff for the admin and for the everyday user, including students, and we'll be back next time. We'll be taking another Thursday off, unfortunately. Got some travel issues and things like that, so we'll not be able to broadcast. I will probably send up a tutorial earlier in the day about it, so it won't be live, but I'll send some of the same things I do, and we'll just be a little bit earlier on Thursday. So it won't be live, but you'll still get another edition. So till next time, thank you all for being here, and keep following me and subscribing. Remember, we have It's Ed Technical Podcast, and then we also have, whoops, I clicked on the wrong button. And then we also have, of course, Twitter is at Nick Finelli, and also on Facebook it's just Blend Tech Learn, and then our YouTube channel that has Blended Tech Learning. Subscribe to those channels, you'll get all the latest stuff. Also remember, we do have classes, they're still coming on. You have a couple more days until the early bird registration for the summer classes is over, so go ahead and check out courses.blendedtechlearning.com and sign up for a certification course in Apple to be an Apple teacher, or a certification course to become a Microsoft Innovative Educator, or if you want to become a Google certified level 1 or level 2, go sign up for that course. Take you less than 5 weeks. Take the test. For Google, you're good. Apple takes you less than 5 weeks. You take the Apple teacher test, you're good. The Microsoft Innovative Educator, just take the class and you're an educator. You're an MIE, and you'll be on your way with all this other fantastic learning. So again, thank you so much, and we will see you next time on It's Ed Technical.